So next up, we're going to talk about creating links, which is a very, very important part of making a web page. If we look at any web page, go to the MDN homepage, there's links all over the place. The nav bar, full of links, right? All of these are links. Each one of these is a link. That's something I can click on and go to another document, another page. Although it's not always just a link to another page. Here's one to take me to Twitter, for example. So that takes me to a completely different website. These will take me to a different page on Mozilla Developer Network. But then if I look at one of these pages, like the EM element, if I click one of these links over here, like where it says example, that takes me to a different part of the same page. So there's lots of different links. We can link to our own website at a different web page, right? Like if I click this, it's still Mozilla Developer Network. Or I can link to a totally separate external web page like Google or Facebook or GitHub. Finally, I can link to a different part of the same page, like I'm doing right here. Well, I'm not doing it. I'm clicking these links. I'm interacting with them. So we're going to learn how to do all of that. And links are our first example of an element that actually requires two pieces of information. There's the text of the link, right? This link right here says the word HTML. I click it though, and it takes me to a particular destination. So there's two pieces of data. What does the link say, and where does it go when you click it? And here's how we create one. We use an element called the anchor tag. So we use the A letter, We use an A in our tag name, and we put text in there like go to Reddit. And then the most important piece is this thing right here where it says href. Href equals HTTPS something, something, something in quotes. This href is something known as an attribute. It's like a separate property that we can provide, and it has to be called href in this case because that's what the anchor element is expecting. And this goes inside the opening tag. So notice there's my angle bracket and my other angle bracket. It goes inside that opening tag. And then we set that href to be double quotes. Single quotes you can get away with, but it's supposed to be double quotes. And then some URL inside. And that tells the browser when a user clicks this link that says go to Reddit, take them to this location. So again, that is an attribute. Just terminology-wise, that's called an attribute. There's other attributes when we see images, when we see form controls. This one is called type, but it's the same pattern. In a tag, something equals something else in quotes. So one more here. Attribute equals a value. href equals Google. This one we're going to learn soon. src, that's a different attribute. For images, you set it equal to an image name. So let's try making a link. Where should we have a link go to? I'll make just an anchor element that says, sure, we'll do Reddit. Go to Reddit, which you normally wouldn't say go to Reddit, it would just be Reddit. And as you'll see, if I don't provide an href, it's just a piece of text. But as soon as I provide an href in here, and remember this goes in the opening tag after the letter A, we put a space and then href equals, and then some URL. So http://www. And then we'll do reddit.com/r/puppies to go to the puppies subreddit. If you don't know Reddit, it doesn't matter. It's just any URL. Put whatever you want in there. Okay, now I'm going to refresh the page, and it now looks like a link. It's blue, it's underlined. You can change the color, you can change the underline, all of that using CSS. We spend a lot of time doing that in this course, actually. And now if I click it, it takes me to reddit.com/r/puppies. What adorable puppies. Okay, so that's our first example of a link. Notice, by the way, that if I inspect, this is another inline element, meaning that it doesn't, here, let me put this back on the side, the DevTools, it doesn't push content onto its own line. So it just fits in with the rest of whatever comes before and after it. So I can nest an anchor element inside of things like a paragraph, right? My favorite website is, and then I can have this link that says Reddit, and it fits right in there. It doesn't go on its own line. I inspect it, It's highlighted in blue, as you can see right there. Compare that to the paragraph, which is blue, but it goes all the way across, and it would push anything down onto its own line afterwards. So that's our first link. Let's try a different setup. Let's now make an unordered list that has LIs, and each LI will be a link to a different social media platform or something like that. So I'm going to make an anchor element again inside the LI, and this one will go to Facebook. I'll put the href in there. http://www.facebook.com. Refresh the page. Again, I nested an anchor element this time, not that one, this one, inside of an LI, right? It shares the space in that LI. Okay, so I have Facebook. If I click it, it takes me to Facebook, right? I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to use a little shortcut, which is Option Shift down arrow, just to make a couple more, or you could just copy and paste or type it yourself. This one can be Twitter, right? So twitter.com, and then let's do GitHub, which would be github.com. Refresh the page, and I have 3 different links. As we see right here, they go to Twitter and they go to GitHub. I can have them linked to wherever, right? There's no rule that says this has to go to Facebook. It's just common sense that we should link to Facebook, but I could change this to be a link to Google. It would just be very confusing for a user if they click Facebook and it takes them to Google. Okay, so that's our first taste of the anchor element. I'll be back in the next video with a few more examples, but just pay special attention to this piece here. That makes it all work. We provide the text, which is just like any other element, like a paragraph, an EM element, an H1. It's just text between tags. But this is what makes a link work. It says this is the destination of this link. When a user clicks it, take them to google.com.